This podcast is brought to you by Mudwater.
Dave, Mudwater, I'm just now hearing about this stuff. I've got to know, is this how you get away with never drinking coffee?
Yeah, I've never had coffee really in my life. I tasted it, but it's never been my thing. I've always been more of a tea drinker. I like my green tea in the mornings, but I've been introduced to Mudwater recently, and it's changed up my whole morning routine. Mudwater is a coffee alternative with 4 adaptogenic mushrooms and Ayurvedic herbs. It has seventh of the caffeine of a cup of coffee, where you get the energy without the anxiety, the jitters, or the crash of the coffee. It's got some amazing ingredients in there too. You got cacao and chai for mood and microdose caffeine, lion's mane for alertness. You got some cordyceps to help support physical performance, chaga and reishi to support your immune system, turmeric for soreness, cinnamon for antioxidants. The stuff is just packed with amazing things that you need on a daily basis. And the taste is incredible. It tastes kind of like a spicy hot chocolate. It's awesome in the mornings. It really kind of just sets my day off right. I'm a big fan of all the ingredients in there. I love how it doesn't kind of kick me into too much gear. Coffee always gives me the jitters, and I really just appreciate something that kind of gives me a nice level feeling throughout the day in terms of that energy boost. I'm a huge fan of this stuff, and I'm so glad I was introduced to it.
Man, Dave, you've got me sold. I tell you what, with my 3 cups of caffeinated coffee a day and 3 cups of decaffeinated, I got to do something. So I'm going to give this a try.
I would do it. Mudwater is Whole30 approved. It's 100% USDA organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, vegan. It's kosher as well. If you go to mudwater.com, that's MUDWTR.com to support the show, you can use the code PowerMonkey, all caps, for $5 off. Again, that's PowerMonkey, all caps, for $5 off. Go to mudwater.com, check out more. Welcome to the Power Monkey Podcast, where we chat with the best in the world about what they do. I'm your host, Dave Durante, with my co-host, Chad Vaughn. And on today's episode, we have Meg Reardon. Meg is an incredible athlete, having competed at the CrossFit Games twice as an individual athlete. Talk a little bit about those experiences, as well as coming to Power Monkey Camp 16 in the fall, being a guest athlete, all the things that happened while she was there, and also about a side business that has seemingly blown up over the last couple of years, Wags and Weights. This is a combination of her love of fitness with her love of dogs, being able to contribute to some of the shelter communities in different cities, what it's like for her to be able to build a brand around two loves, fitness and dogs. We also talk a little bit about her background as an athlete, having grown up competing in field hockey and also competing in the collegiate level within that sport, and how that's transferred over into her being a competitor within the CrossFit community. She has a lot going on. She has some big moves coming up in the next couple of weeks and months. We're excited to let the rest of the community know about what Meg's doing. Enjoy.
All right, Meg. So you're a 3-time games competitor, and yeah, we'll get to all that stuff. Quite honestly, what I'm most interested in is your love for dogs. Your love for dogs to the point to where you have a company about dogs. How did that all start, and where's your love for dogs come from?
I feel like my love for dogs in general just was something I was born with. I feel like you're either born with a love for dogs or you really aren't into them. So I was very lucky to have dogs growing up and always in my home. And then when I started CrossFit back in, I guess really 2013, 2014-ish, there were a lot of gym dogs. That was like really very popular thing back in the day. I feel like it's not as common now, or I don't see them as much. Maybe it's because I'm in Queens, but so the gym dogs were like a very normal thing. And I remember walking into a box and being like, why has no one kind of put this love of dogs and fitness together to make something fun? So it actually was originally called Pups and PRs before Wags and Weights. But I think it turned out, I think Wags and Weights is a much better name because not really everyone knew what PR stood for no matter what. So we ended up kind of branding with the barbell and a star and a paw print logo. And that was like our signature thing. Created an Instagram account, got a pretty good traction and some good following. And then we kind of put out one of our first designs, which was, I think it was the Daily Essentials, which says dogs, fitness, coffee, donuts.
Yeah. I mean, looking into it, you guys are doing really well. I mean, 65 something thousand followers, that's pretty impressive. That's not easy to get to. I mean, you have to put some work into that for sure. And do you attribute that following to specific work that you guys did put in, or is it simply just a lot of people love dogs?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think people that have dogs will literally do anything and buy anything for their dog. And I've started to realize that. I mean, I started to realize that very early on. But I think it's also just being consistent on the page. And we used to showcase people's pups, which everyone loves to showcase their dogs. So doing a little bit of that, coming up with really fun sayings and phrases for people to wear. And then also the fact that we donate to rescues, people really find a love and passion for that. A lot of people do rescue dogs in general. So we try to find rescues to partner with quarterly and, do fun stuff like that as well. So it's been a lot of fun.
Nice. And I got to know, what do you think about cat lovers
Oh
or
no.
cat people or even anyone just with the cat? We have our producer listening in right now, Jordan.
Yeah, this is
who owns a
specifically
cat.
for Jordan. What do you think of people like that?
Okay,
Jordan.
so
Yeah, Jordan specifically.
I feel like there are a few different types of cat people. There are cat people who hate dog people, which I'm really not, I don't understand where the personal attack is coming from. Just because people like dogs a little bit more than they like cats, you really can't hate us. But you know what, I do think I can tolerate cats. I actually am very allergic to cats. So
Me too.
I couldn't have one, but they are pretty cute as kittens.
Yeah.
I know, I mean, a few of my friends, like Alex and Meredith, had this cat that's like, it's a beautiful cat, but it's like this, like, it's like it always looks like it's going to kill someone. I'm like, I feel like it's going to kill you. So I don't know if I really trust them.
That's kind of what cats do though, right? They are killers.
That's
killers.
their MO. That's their
MO. Jordan has sent me videos of cats just like destroying little, obviously, birds and mice and whatever else, but they are little killers. You just got to be aware if that's what you're getting into your house. You got one ready to go. If you
100%.
We did. You're definitely more of a dog person, aren't you?
Yeah, but go ahead, Meg. What were you saying?
I was gonna say we did do one cat t-shirt. It was like, I think it was Kitties and Kilos or something. It was a pretty cool design and it actually sold quite well. So I was like, oh no, maybe we should try to do a new market here. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't know if you want to take away from the dogs, but yeah, I'm definitely more of a dog person. And I got to say, I used to not trust cats at all. I've had a couple come through my life though that have warmed me up a little bit. And to be fair to Jordan, I stayed at his house not too long ago. I fell in love with this cat. And I used to not trust anyone that owned a cat either very much, but Jordan is very quickly changing my mind. So he's doing a good job.
Okay, first of all, I know I'm supposed to be muted right now, but I just need to say that I am not a cat person. I am an animal person. I love animals. I love dogs. I love cats. And I'm grateful that I could change Chad's viewpoint on it. So
he's a cat person. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah, he's just he's saying that only to fit in, fit in. I am glad that you jumped on though, Jordan, to take up for yourself there a little bit, but yes, dogs, I will still say is where it's at. And it's exciting to hear that, you combine, the dog enthusiast and in fitness and everything else. You're absolutely right. There were so many gym dogs. And in fact, we've done a lot of seminars where there were a dog or two hanging out at the gyms all day. And even still in our weightlifting gym that my coach or my wife runs all those classes. But I mean, there's always at least one or two dogs in every single class. So we love it.
What kind of dogs do you have, Meg?
I have a pretty big, like 80-pound pit bull. She is very much a lap dog. Well, she thinks she's a lap dog. She's named after Beyonce, so it's Bey, B-E-Y. And if I could have more, I would, but just being in New York, we really don't have much space.
Yeah, that was actually my next question. I used to live, because I lived in Manhattan, and I lived actually down the block from you in Queens. I lived very close to where you live. I lived there for almost 5 years. But there was a guy who lived next door to me who had 3 dogs, and the apartment was like, I don't know, maybe 400 square feet. Wow. I don't know how people in New York have dogs. Like, one is already like, how do you do it? Like, is it something that you find to be extraordinarily challenging to have a dog that big and living in New York City?
We got very lucky. We're in a very residential area. We live, basically our friend has like this 2-family home. So we live in the top part of it, but he has access to like a backyard and, and a garage and all that stuff. So we do have a good amount of space. But it definitely, I mean, when I first moved here, my dog had never like gone to the bathroom on concrete. I'm like, she's not going to do this. Like, there's no way. And sure enough, she's pooping and peeing on concrete now. So I really
Nice.
can't.
There you go.
She adapted well.
Such good learners, you know.
Yes, they are.
Amazing.
Well, when you got to go, you got to go. But I do think there's something to be said for the kind of dog that you own as well. I haven't really completely figured that out yet, but I will say that I do question people that own pugs for some reason. For some reason, pugs annoy me. I'm not sure why. I haven't really figured that out yet, but I think there is something to be said for that too. Now, of course, we can get into change the subject, talk about CrossFit a little bit or whatever else you guys want to talk about. But I want to talk about tattoos. Is that okay? Can we do that? I mean, you've
Yes.
got a lot of tattoos,
I
and
got no dog. I got no tattoos. I'm just gonna mute myself over here.
yeah, man, just get out of here, Dave. We don't need you. We don't need you. Jordan, come back on. You got tattoos as well. We can talk to you again. But why do you have tattoos? Why do you have tattoos? Is it just a complete hobby for you, or is it something that's meaningful?
So I think when I first got my first ever tattoo, and I don't know if you can relate to this, I kind of just wanted something nice and small, like cute. And I'm like, all right, this is nice. Like maybe not cute for you, but I don't know. But for me, I was like, all right, I just want something simple, but like, people can see it and be like, oh, she has a tattoo. And then I feel like my evolution kind of changed. Like as I become older, I've seen people with like full pieces,
Yep.
like legs and backs and arms. And I'm like, that is just the coolest looking thing to me. And most of the time it either has a story or they just really enjoy art. So I don't really consider myself like super into like storytelling with tattoos, but I like things to flow and to have some type of correlation, to what like the full piece. So
Right.
I wanted to commit to doing like a sleeve and I loved it. So I was like, this is awesome. I really think it's like so cool that people can draw these amazing things on people's bodies. So it's kind of like a, a love for it. It's so expensive. I wish I could do it myself, but it's been like really like the evolution has changed. Like I used to want like just little ones and now I'm like, oh, I definitely want like a big piece when I do it.
Yeah. So it's more about the kind of the art and the flow of it for you then?
Yeah, I would say definitely more the art, the flow. I really love black and white and gray, not as much color. But yeah, I just fell in love with it.
Do you enjoy or like or love the process of getting a tattoo? I mean, obviously there's pain there. Do you not enjoy that, or is there like, because for me, like, I mean, getting one on my ribs, that was the most painful, hour and a half, however long it took of my life. And
Right.
I don't necessarily want to do that again, but most of the other ones, I would say, even though it was painful in some spots, more painful than others, there's something about it that I enjoy. I'm not sure why, but how's that for you?
Maybe you're just like sick in the head and you enjoy pain. So.
That's very possible.
We already knew that.
Yeah.
Do you have the back of your knee done?
No, I don't know that I'll want to do that.
Yeah, I don't either, but I've heard that it's like the worst spot to ever get a tattoo. So kind of intrigues me, but also I'm like, maybe not. I don't know if I'm that tough. I would say the process, yes, as painful as it can be. I love like when we finish a session and I have a part done. And I'm like, okay, this is gonna look so amazing when it's finally, fully finished. Although it like I wish that you could sometimes speed up the process and be like, all right, like can we finish this a little quicker? Yeah. Like certain parts of the arm where I'm like, all right, that's enough, we're good. But yeah, I think the process it kind of makes it like more meaningful at the end of the day.
It does. You have to earn it, right? You have to sit there and earn it. Do you have any limits or rules? Like for me, I mean, at this point, I will only tattoo the right side of my body. There are certain parts of my body where, I used to think that I would never even consider tattooing, but now I'm starting to be like, well, I wouldn't mind having something, a little bit of something sneaking up into my neck or on the back of my hand, something like that, where I used to think I would never do. Do you have any limits for yourself?
I definitely wouldn't tattoo my face. That would probably be the only place I would say like I would really not allow. Everywhere else I feel like is pretty fair game. Pretty fair game, yeah.
So in 2 or 3 years, you're just gonna have a full body tattoo except for your face. Is that what we're saying?
I I would really like that, but I gotta talk to my fiance and make sure she's cool with it too.
Chad,
Very true.
are you on your way to that? Are you on your way to moving away from just the right side of the body and back of the knees and neck and all that stuff?
I cannot go to the other side. I made a promise to Jody many years ago. She said that she would only do the left side of her body, would stay off of the right, and I said I would only do the right side of my body. So that's something that I'm committed to and I have to stick to. But I do want one on my hand, on the backside of my hand, to go there.
It's become like kind of cool now. Like if you could just like do this and like show you.
Well, and that's the thing, is that a lot of people don't have real jobs now. I don't have a real job where I can't do something like that.
Job.
But I mean, I don't know that I'll ever really go on my leg either. I'm not really opposed to that, but I'm just more interested in, the right side of my upper body, completing the sleeve here and, digging into my back and the front a little bit more. So, but cool. I need some more sessions of pain is mostly what it's about. So
that's it. You just got to commit to do, like, you got to book the appointment and then you're in. So you can't get out of that. There
it is. It's either that or just a CrossFit workout, that brings a similar kind of pain to me. So
yeah.
Well, speaking of the CrossFit workout, Chad, if you wouldn't mind me jumping in here, I actually want to move not from CrossFit, because I know most people who are our listeners probably know you from your CrossFit background, but more into what you seem to have been getting into more recently, Spartan side of things. I'm curious how you got into Spartan and how you feel it's added something, a new dimension into how you train.
So this was like an invite only for the Spartan Games, because it was basically 9 events over a period of 4 days. So they only wanted to invite a certain amount of people so they could, give the full experience of the games and kind of be able to do a lot more with the events, which was really crazy and really cool. And we'll kind of get into that. But so my background with Spartan was I had never really done too many races, but I was filming with them for their Spartan Fit app. They basically have this app that's very similar to like a Peloton app, or where they can, you can go in, you can do a subscription, you can do all these different types of workouts, HIIT style, whatever. So I was filming and being one of their coaches on their app. So I was able to kind of connect with all of these amazing people. And so when this opportunity came up, they were like, it's pretty intense. It's probably something you've never really done, but we'd like to have you out. And I really couldn't say no, because I'm never really one to back down from a challenge. I was terrified because they had kind of briefly mentioned the events. One of them was like a half marathon up a mountain. And I was like, this is nuts. Like, these people are crazy, but I kind of want to see what it's about. So we did it.
Wow. So first, a CrossFit Games competitor saying that another fitness person is crazy. It should be fairly telling. But one, how long did you have to train for these events? And were they outside? Because I saw you doing some shooting and things like that. I'm kind of curious what the events were and if they were kind of outside of the realm of what you would normally think of as maybe a CrossFit type of workout.
Okay, well, I actually only was notified 2 weeks prior to the event happening. Wow. So there wasn't much preparation at all, but it wasn't just me. Like, most of the competitors across the board, although a lot of them came from Spartan and OCR and like longer endurance type backgrounds. It was really just me and Christian, who came from the CrossFit background.
No, Christian Harris, you work out with him. He's actually been to camp with us in the past. He's a beast in his own right, but just want to make sure people who know what you're talking about.
Yes. Sorry. We only were notified 2 weeks out. But the events range, like the shortest event was 3 minutes. Like, I would consider that definitely a very CrossFit style workout. But on average, the workouts were like 20 plus minutes, which in a CrossFit setting is pretty long. So the longest event being almost 3 hours. And then there was another one that was about 2 hours. That was a mountain bike trail. Very endurance-y. Like, they obviously Spartan, to a certain extent, they're obviously a little more biased toward like endurance style events, because that's what most of their athletes' backgrounds are. So they did mostly like the longer endurance. They had a couple what they call DECA events that were involved, like some CrossFit style stuff, farmers carry, dead man's carry, machines, and then a shooting event as well, which was really cool. I'm surprised Have we seen it at the CrossFit Games? No, we haven't yet, right?
Did they do a shooting one at the ranch?
It seems like
Only
maybe
at
they
Rogue.
did.
I thought it was Rogue, but that was it. Maybe they did.
I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
remember.
If they did,
Maybe
I
it
think
was
they did it at
maybe
the
it was
ranch.
like some sort of a throwing event before. There was
I want to
something.
say they did it at Rogue, but I don't know if they've done it at the games ever, which I'm actually surprised because Dave Castro, coming from a military background, I'm surprised he hasn't like thrown that at people yet.
Yeah,
So.
it's inevitable. But so what was that part of it like? So the shooting, is that something you're accustomed to? Have you done shooting kind of growing up or anything like that? Or was it a fairly new experience?
Fairly new. I've shot a gun a couple times in my life. Not really much experience at all. One of the competitors actually came from a tactical games background, so he was like the only one that like crushed it, I would say. So the cool thing is they like walked us through everything. I felt very safe doing it, but completely outside my comfort zone for sure.
What was the actual event?
So the event went, you started with a Husa cross, like carry down and back. You go to your gun, you're shooting, I think 10 bullets to a target. This is a real gun too. Go back, you are farmer's carrying. Same thing, go back to the target, shoot again. You're obviously trying to hit the target as many times as you can. If you don't, you get a penalty. I think it was like a 30-second penalty, or maybe it was 10 every time you missed. And then the last one was sponsored by Air Force Special Warfare. So we actually got to either drag or dead man carry this guy that was he was fully uniformed. So he probably weighed like 220 pounds plus.
It was a real person?
Real person.
Nice.
He played dead. Yeah. Carry him down and back, and then you finish with like a smaller target. And then it actually finished. So you were wearing a weight vest the whole time as well. And then you actually finish by throwing on a ruck, 60-pound ruck, and rucking up a mountain for a mile.
Oh my God, jeez.
It was nuts.
Some brutal stuff. Intense.
This does sound a little maybe worse than the CrossFit Games. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Did you have a harder time at the games or here?
So different, much different. Like the games, obviously, the CrossFit Games are so hard because these events are just so taxing on the body. So even though they may not be like as taxing, like physically, like I felt like I could never control my breathing because we were at 7,200 feet of elevation. Every event was some type of like hard run or bike. So I was always breathing like maximal capacity.
How did Christian do with everything?
He was good. He did really well. He kind of messed up his thumb. We did a wrestling event. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Oh, I did see some pictures from that. Yeah.
We did it was like a street fight. I was like, what the? Should have brought my brass knuckles.
Wow. Those are some pretty cool events. He's a beast though. Like there's not very many things. You look at the guy and it's like, oh, this guy can do everything. You kind of hate him because he's just good at everything.
Yeah, right. And he's so handsome. I'm like, damn, dude.
Yeah. Won the lottery. Genetic lottery.
Yeah. So he kind of messed up his thumb a little bit. I think maybe like jamming it into someone accidentally. But he thoroughly enjoyed the events as well. Like both of us, it kind of really changed our mindset on games training. So like, when you're in the gym, you're training for the quarterfinals, semifinals, you're not really doing much stuff outside the gym. But then when you get to the games, Dave Castro does always like to throw some type of longer endurance-y event, like just to see how gritty you are, see if you're able to do things outside your comfort zone. So I felt like we both got mentally tougher over the last week.
Would you anticipate wanting to do another one of those? Do you think it would, are your goals now kind of mixed between wanting to do something in Spartan and CrossFit? Or do you think that, hey, if another Spartan opportunity came, it could facilitate me becoming a little bit more capable at the CrossFit side?
I think that I would definitely do another just because it was so much fun. And I really enjoyed it because it was new for me. Even though CrossFit is something that I'm in love with and I'm very passionate about, I love doing new things. And I didn't realize how much I loved it until I was actually in the middle of it. And I'm like, oh, this is sick. Like, why don't I do stuff like this more often? So I think that I would. I think in my exit interview, I said maybe because I was just, it was a lot going on. And I was like, I don't know, maybe. It was a long week. But I think if they did ask me back, I would do it again. It was a blast.
Last question. I want to know more about the wrestling event. What was the goal there? Was you have to pin somebody? Was it like outside of a circle?
It was like ancient Greek rules. So it was standing only. You couldn't touch any of your body part other than your feet. in this like pit.
Mhm.
And then your goal was either to get that person outside of the pit, the circle, or to bring them down to
Oh, it's like
something other than
sumo.
their feet.
It's like sumo
Kind of,
wrestling type
exactly.
style,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Oh, nice. All right, how'd you do there?
I'm not really supposed to say. We signed
Oh.
NDA. Yeah, we like, so basically they're doing like a docu-series that will release
sweet.
in 2022.
Nice.
So I can't say if like, you know, how I did, but there were some
Alright.
scrappy women out there.
That's amazing. So coming back over to the CrossFit side now, you're training out in Queens. What gym are you at right now?
I was training at CrossFit Queens. we have the luxury of a home gym as well. So I
Oh,
train
nice.
there. We're
Okay.
actually moving to Long Beach where my fiance, she's a firefighter out there. So we're moving out to Long Beach soon, and I'll be training at a gym mostly there as well.
No, we were actually out there like a couple of weeks ago doing a seminar.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah. So we're not that far away from where you're headed. But are you training on your own, or do you have, you mentioned Christian being around. I know he's kind of more Long Island type of a guy, but are you training on your own? Do you find that to be advantageous to what your training style looks like right now?
I am mostly training by myself. I don't prefer to train alone, to be honest with you. I've done it before, especially in my early years competing individually. And I do think you typically tend to be more successful when you're in a good environment with other people that are going to push you.
Mhm.
So the goal is, hopefully, since we're moving closer to where Christian is, I can get out there and train with him more frequently. Just
Mhm.
because he's fun, he's obviously very fit, so he's going to push me in whatever we do. But I definitely enjoy being around people when I train.
Yeah, and what we've seen, and Chad, you probably can speak to this too, but just from some of the guests that we have on, higher level CrossFit competitors, we've noticed that a lot of people have either liked to have trained by themselves, or when they do find a partner, they like to train with someone, like have a male female combination. Like sometimes
Yeah.
they don't like train with someone else who they might see out on the competition floor, but rather
Yeah.
someone that they can see as kind of a training partner who would push them, but not a direct competitor. Do you find that to be valuable in someone like Christian, who you're not compete against, but he'll be able to push you in the same way that you'll be able to push him?
Yeah, that's a really great question, because I would definitely agree with that. I think there's a time and place to train with fellow competitors that you're going to see on the floor. I think doing it every day, especially if you're getting beaten by them every single day, can be not for everyone. I don't think I would enjoy it. I think it'd be tough.
Mm-hmm.
So it is nice to have that like balance of having, like, for example, like a male competitor that I'm training with. Like I said, like I do enjoy getting together on weekends and training with fellow female competitors, and doing that for one weekend and getting my butt
Right.
kicked. But I don't think I could do it every day. I don't think it'd be for me.
Chad, that sounds kind of similar to what Vellner was saying to us too, right? The fact that he gets to do things on his own. He has a couple of people he likes to train with, but for the most part, not kind of a super team kind of a guy.
Yeah, it's been interesting to hear all the different perspectives on the kind of the combination of athletes that like to train alone. Like, if I'm going to try to get the most out of myself for a weightlifting competition, honestly, like I just want to close off and just be by myself, because I know that I have more control of the training program that I'm on. I have more control of, pulling back a little bit if I need to, and I don't have any issues pushing myself in the gym alone. But on the other side of that, there's athletes that need someone else there every day, or need a male female combination. And still with that, I wonder, Meg, your perspective on this, whether it's male and female, or whether you have a partner that you're good friends with, you guys kind of feed off each other, you can read each other. I still feel like there's maybe a little bit of peer pressure there, or a lot of peer pressure to push yourself on those days where you might need to pull back a little bit. You're still going to do the work, but you're not going to go in as hard as you would otherwise. And I don't think that any two humans can ever be 100% the same in that regard. Like, we're going to have our own off days, or our own really good days. And so how do you handle that from that perspective?
Yeah, great question. I think that just comes with like experience and time. Like I think back in the day when I first started, I was more of that athlete that would be like, yeah, let's do 3 metcons in a day and just destroy our bodies. And if you're doing that, I'm doing that. If you're doing that weight, I'm gonna do that weight. Nowadays, I literally consider myself to be like an older athlete. And so when I wake up and I do not feel good, I will make sure that I'm, modifying my training accordingly, especially within the last year with the knee injury that I had. I realized that there were things I was going to have to pay the price with if I decided to do them. And so I learned quickly that I needed to make sure I'm picking and choosing my battles wisely when I'm training. So I think it just comes with experience and time. And like now, if I were to go and do a workout with Christian and he're like, we're going to, he decided to say we're going to run 6 miles before, I'd say, no, I'm going to bike instead.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it just comes with experience and understanding and really knowing your body, being in tune with it.
This episode is brought to you by Barbell Mobility. Now, Chad, you've been working on barbell mobility for a long time now. It's recently out to the community. Why is this so important for users of the barbell to become more mobile and more capable within their end ranges?
Mobility is critical for any athlete, but specifically for weightlifting. We're using barbell mobility to help athletes get under the barbell a little bit more often, use some load to help assist in their mobility improvements. It's critical for them to get some repetitions and some consistency in that barbell mobility can provide. These are 10-minute warm-ups provided on a daily basis to help increase not only mobility, but comfort with the barbell.
Yeah, you always talk about, gymnasts being the most mobile athletes at the Olympic Games, but weightlifters number 2, not too far behind. Is this trying to get more people to catch up to where gymnasts are at on the mobility side?
It absolutely is. I'm tired of losing to you, Dave. So I need to get more athletes more mobile, and certainly something that can carry over to everything CrossFit related, including gymnastics. I know that you would enjoy a lot of the overhead mobility and front rack stretches that we provide to help your gymnast.
I love them. I'm all about them. So where can they find this stuff?
Go to barbellmobility.com. Also, you can check us out on Instagram at barbellmobility. You can sign up for a 7-day free trial. And if you're interested in continuing from there, use Monkey15. That's MONKEY, all caps 15 for 15% off your first 3 months.
So what is the next step for you right now? What is the season looking like? We have some big competitions coming up in the next couple of weeks and months, but are you prepping for more of the open right now? Are you looking at any of these bigger events as part of your agenda? How's your training looking like right now leading up to 2022?
So each day really is kind of day by day. So I've been dealing with a bunch of different things after my knee scope. Brief background, got a knee scope because I had a cartilage flap tear. This is now almost a year. And it fixed the mechanical issue, but it has created this basically chronic inflammation issue. So every time that I squat, especially with the squat snatches and squat cleans, my knee tends to flare up and swell really bad to the point where like I can't even really bend and flex fully. So it's been a really big battle that I've had to deal with. Again, picking and choosing. All right, I got to make sure I do 1 day of squatting and 1 day of running, and the rest is kind of sprinkled in with other things that are going to help not inflame the knee. So I really try not to look too far ahead. I think I just take it day by day as I've gotten older, and I would love to still continue to compete. And I think we just got to kind of give it time and see. I really would love, I was able to compete through the Spartan Games and I didn't come out crippled, which was awesome. And that was a good amount of running. So I think it's going to be the same kind of thing, building back up slowly with the explosive movements and really seeing what my body can tolerate. So no big events really in the future, just kind of building gradually and seeing where I'm at by the open.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Can we talk about your knee a little bit more? You said it's been a year since you were injured, since the injury?
Since the scope itself. The injury has been a few years now.
Okay.
A lot of wear and tear, a lot of cartilage loss in the knee, not just from lifting, just from running, playing field hockey, my anatomy, all that kind of stuff. So I've had issues with like knee pain in the past. And so this locking issue that I was having, basically every time I was squatting, my knee was locking. So I thought it was actually like a meniscus issue. And I ended up getting an MRI and they said it's like a bucket flap tear. and that it wouldn't really be fixed unless I got the surgery. We opted to try to really avoid it, but it was inevitable and I had to get it. Unfortunately, it caused, like I said, this like issue that's just not really going away at this point.
Right, right. And the reason why I wanted to ask about that is because I've seen some of your posts with you using this new well, I don't want to call it a fad, but this new thing, slant board. And that brings me to a guy that I've been following for a while now, which I love, knees over toes guy, right? He uses a slant board all the time, and he's talking about, getting your knee as far in front of your toes as possible, getting some reps in and some work there to help strengthen your knee, to help rehab your knee if you've had a knee surgery. And I completely agree with I completely agree with what he's doing. I completely understand what he's doing, because as Olympic lifters, we have no choice but to allow our knee to go in front of our toes. And I've been using elevated heel squats as just a part of athletes warm-ups since I became a coach. I've been using them myself as an athlete for just about as long as I've been an athlete. But for me, I'm using them more so to help someone get into a deeper, better quality position and to help them learn that. And yeah, by nature, it's going to help them have a stronger knee and help rehab or prehab in that regard. But I haven't really looked at it in the extreme way of strengthening, exaggerating and strengthening the knee. But from your perspective, how long have you been doing that? And have you seen a difference in your knee health by doing that?
Yeah, I definitely think I've seen a difference. I mean, I don't want to like say that I was taught poorly or taught wrong, but I think in a way I kind of was. I mean, a lot of times you're taught sit back in the heels, push your hips back, and a lot of times that's really not allowing your knees to go over your toes. So I think
Yep.
for a long time I squatted poorly. So I
Well, I
would
think
say
it's
this
being
is
taught
go ahead.
wrong, or not really taught wrong, but taught to do something for the wrong reasons. They're teaching you to push your butt back and to keep your knees from going in front of your toes, because the misconception was that it's going to be harder on your knees. It's going to lead to
Mm,
knee injury. Whereas I want you to get your knee in front of your toes so it can
yeah.
cause more stress. So your knee can actually be stronger and more mobile and everything.
Right. And I think that's kind of similar to what the knees over toes guy,
Right.
his methodology, ideologies as well. I've been doing it now, gosh, 6-ish months maybe.
Hmm.
And I found that it has been very helpful, especially just strengthening like my quads, a lot of hamstring work,
Hmm.
where I think I may have even tibialis work as well, things that I kind
Hmm.
of neglected in the past. Um, I mean, I don't know if you have any, I mean, we could also chat about this differently too, but like insight to like, he kind of explained to me, like, unfortunately arthritis is something you kind of have to like be like walk on eggshells with, because
Hmm.
any given moment, like you could really inflame the knee just because of
Yeah.
the fact there's so much wear and tear. So
Mhm.
that's kind of like the battle that I've been facing. Even though the stuff's been totally helping and strengthening my knee, I'm still getting
Hmm.
certain issues when I start to really do the explosive movements.
Right. That's great. That's great to hear, and it's really cool to see all these kind of before and after stories from knees over toes guy, and kind of. I just love it. I love that this information is coming out and this kind of thing is being done. And now, with what you're doing, you talk about it's been strengthening your quads. You talk about hamstring work. Now, are is knees over toes guy, or are you considering the full squat on the slant board as the hamstring work in itself, or are you doing other things to help your hamstrings?
I'm doing other things like Nordics. We do a lot of Nordics. We do like every day is a little bit different. It's 5 days a week. So one day could be purely hamstrings, Jefferson curls,
Hmm.
the Nordics, reverse Nordics, all that kind of stuff. Um, one day could be more geared toward the quad. So like the slant board BMO squat is definitely more of a quad dominant movement.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, we focus a lot on the calf work. So calves and tibialis work gets its own day as well. And then a lot of sled drags as well, a lot of reverse sled drags. I probably could even be doing more. I'm sure I could
Yeah.
be doing more. Um, but that's kind of like it. I would say it hits all the bases like 5 days a week.
Right.
Like just like here's what you should be doing at a minimum kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. So not just the slant board. The slant board is not the complete answer. It's more of a combination of other exercises that all of it is working together for your
Yes.
benefit. But I think the missing piece, why, the slant board is sticking out, is because it's the big misconception. It's what athletes have been staying away from. And I think that's probably the missing link, basically.
Yeah.
Now, I've had a few knee surgeries myself, and 3 in all, and blown out knees, ACL, MCL, meniscus over the years. So anytime we're talking about knees, I'm always interested in stuff that keeps those things strong. What Chad and Mike over the years have given me in terms of just lifting, getting comfortable, bottom of the squat has actually helped my knees get at least stable to the point of them not degrading as they probably would have otherwise, which is actually kind of cool. But I just love hearing conversations about what other people are doing to strengthen their knees, and Chad has been such a huge part of that conversation.
Yeah. I was actually like really, really pumped with Chad's station at Power Monkey. I was like, this is going to be like, I'm such a recovery mobility nerd. Like, I know that I can always be learning more. So like, I was like, yes, it's going to be such a fun station to test all the different things. And it was thoroughly enjoyable.
See that, Chad? You had one person like your station.
I know. I had one. Wow, the first person ever. And
you didn't even have to pay her to say that.
Man, wow, this is great. Are you sure you didn't just give me this as some sort of a gift or something? You feeling bad for me here lately, or what?
No, I really was excited to do your station.
Awesome. Well, I'm certainly glad that you enjoyed it, and hopefully you were able to take away at least something to help benefit you in the future. And talking about this, saying that you're like a mobility nerd and all that stuff. Do you do any coaching? What do you do aside from being an athlete and aside from the Wags and Weights company? Are you coaching as well?
I was coaching previously at the gym, CrossFit Queens. I will be coaching again at the gym, Barrier Island CrossFit, when we move out to Long Beach as well. A lot of it's more part-time coaching. I'm already in the gym so much that I don't like to commit too much time to being in the gym. I like to have kind of that balance. Yeah. So when I'm out of the gym, I like to not really focus on it. But who knows, like as I, am starting to really phase out of the competing side, I think that I would love to be able to continue to share my knowledge with other people. So even though I don't think I know that much, I think that I know something that could help someone. So I would love to be able to continue to kind of share my knowledge, especially as I maybe phase out of the competing side of it.
Now, sorry, go ahead, Chad.
I was just going to say, because we've asked this question to so many people, Dave, and I'm curious for Meg as well, since you've done a little bit of coaching while you're still trying to be the best athlete that you can be. Have you found that coaching has helped you be a better athlete in any way?
That's a good question. I think it has allowed me to have better body awareness because I'm having to teach someone else something that I'm so used to doing without thinking about it. Whereas I'm sure you guys have like when you're doing, I mean, maybe not, but like when you do something for so long, you don't have to think about the basic the fundamentals. And so you kind of forget to do those things. And I was even talking about this, like when we went through all the warm-ups at the stations at Power Monkey, like those little teeny things, I'm like, these little things are so important to people, but I already know them. So I already do them without thinking about it. But some people don't know how to do a hollow or an arch position, like something so simple to what I think is so simple. So I think that coaching does allow you to like really break down those movement patterns again and like fine tune things. Even if like I'm not the one doing it, the fact that I'm showing it on someone is forcing me to do those things. So that makes sense.
No, it absolutely makes sense. And I am just continually amazed at how much teaching and coaching other athletes through the years has helped me for sure be not only a better competitor, a better overall athlete, a better technician. I mean, I thought I was decent technically before, and I'm better than I've ever been technically because I'm a teacher and a coach. And I like to think I'm detailed as a teacher and coach as well. But, going through this process of writing a book, even just today, I was digging into a topic and just completely, surprised at how I was perceiving something and in trying to get it out and looking at as, hundreds of videos of the same position on different athletes and coming to the conclusion that I want to come to in the topic that I'm covering. It's just amazing to me how much, again, I said this the other day on the podcast, the more I learn about weightlifting, the more I realize I don't know, so it's that kind of thing. And I think that, the more that we teach and the more that we coach other people, the other athletes, the more potential, honestly, I believe that we have as movers and as athletes. So I would urge you to do more coaching, to be quite honest with you.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So I want to try and jump back to what you brought up earlier, you attending Power Monkey Camp a few weeks ago. Now, it was the first time you've been there.
No, we don't need to hear any more about it. She already said mine was her favorite station and everything else.
Did not say that.
That's what I heard.
But I'm curious, one, what the overall experience was like, but then I'm going to particularly pick out a situation, something that I think might have been a memorable portion of the week, and see if we can dive a little deeper into what happened in that particular situation. So first question, what was your overall experience like? Did you like camp? Did you like how it had been put together?
Oh my God. I literally kept raving about it. I felt bad because like my fiance was working every day and I'm like, thanks so much for allowing me to go to adult summer camp. It was so much fun. I truly had a blast, and I'm so pumped that I was able to get out there and do that week with you guys, because it was life-changing.
Oh, I love hearing that. That's amazing. And, it was your first time out there. We normally have some guests who come out, but we get various participation rates in terms of special guest athletes actually joining the stations and being part of the group that they get put into. And you jumped in, both feet, your group 7 kicked ass at the competition. You guys were like bonded from the start. You could tell you guys were all about being a part of that group. And that was so cool to see. Did you feel like you were able to make a connection with that group pretty quickly?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We basically already planned our next large gathering, which I think will be in San Diego at some point. So
that's awesome.
I've definitely made lifelong friends from that.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, that was a heavy New York, New Jersey crew. So it's all people that aren't too far away from where you're at.
Yeah.
Now the one thing that I wanted to bring up was your experience on the ropes course, because I saw the video of this and it was particularly, I don't know, I find it to be a little funny because I've seen people do it, but I don't know if it was funny for you or frightening for you. So the way a ropes course works, it's a little obstacle course about 40 feet above the ground, climbing a net, walking across a couple obstacles. And at the end, there's a big rope swing. And I encourage people to watch this video on your Instagram feed because it's pretty hilarious. But the person who was working the station there was tying you in. And for those of you listening who've done it before, you know what this feeling is like. You get pulled on this rope and it starts to tug you off of the end, but you're not really ready to go. It's more like throwing you off than you're like, okay, ready to go. And the dude that's working there, Hunter, one of our helpers out at camp, he basically is tying you in. And as he pushes you off, he tells you that's his first day. He's just joking with you. And he's like, today's my first day. I don't know if this thing's going to work. And he launched you off. Did you hear him say that when he pushed you off?
Yes. I was like, do I hold this? And he's like, I don't know. It's my first day. Push. I'm like, ah.
Nice.
Oh my God. It's hilarious. And it's like that first drop where you don't know if the rope is going to catch you is like, oh my God, what am I doing here? And then it catches you and you swing over the lake and it becomes magical. But for that first little bit, there's always that hesitation of what did I get myself into?
Yeah, quite scary. I definitely have a fear of heights. And Dawn from Driven Mind, she was forcing me basically to do this. She's like, you have to do it. And I'm like, Dawn, I really don't want to. Like, please don't make me, please.
Would you do it again?
I would. Oh God. I'd probably do it again.
All right. Yeah, we have some people. Mike Service, I know he's listening. Mike has been to every single camp and still has not gone on the ropes course. Chad, have you done it?
I was hoping you weren't going to ask.
Oh, Chad hasn't done it either. Oh my God.
Chad, come on, you got to do it.
Well, since Meg did it and she was afraid, I'll have to do it.
We have to try and do. We got to figure out how to make this work. But part of the summer when we're there with the kids during the Flip Fest summer camp, the special guests who are there have to do a back tuck on the beam portion of it.
Oh my
a
God,
standing
that's scary.
backflip. And first time I did it, it just rained, and I tried like 30 times, like falling off. I was like, it was really ugly and scary as hell. And then I came back the next camp, and it was nice out. I got out there and I put a GoPro on. They had all these cameras. I did it. I stuck it, and I was like, "That's it. I'm never doing this again. I got it done.
Nice.
And I'm never doing another backflip." I think we got to get a barbell up there, and you got to do like a snatch or an overhead
Oh,
squat
come
or
on
something.
now. I got to be comfortable enough just to even climb up the net first, man. What
Are
do
you
you
scared?
do?
Are you scared of heights?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Although
I know we're
the
definitely gonna
barbell,
get it up there.
the barbell might motivate me a little bit, though. I'm not sure. But I will say too that Cheryl hasn't done it either. And she actually challenged me on the USA Weightlifting podcast, said, "Okay, I'm doing it, so you have to as well." Because I know you have.
Oh, done.
There you
Done.
go. There you
Whole
go.
weightlifting crew. You, Mike,
Yeah.
Cheryl, the whole weightlifting crew. You guys are
Yep.
grounded. You are. I'm not getting off the ground at all.
Let's just get it over with. I mean, let's just go there right now. Like, I don't want to have to, I'm going to lose sleep until that day. So I might as well go get it over with.
Well, I think we can make that happen. But we'd love to have you back. Hopefully, we can pass it on to some more people, because we think that the more people we get there, the more we can pass along our training methods and just give people a good experience and a fun week.
Definitely.
Yeah. So you mentioned moving to Long Island pretty soon. Is that something that is going to, you think, help your training or your next phase of what you're doing? You say you don't know if you're going to compete anymore, or is this kind of an unknown period for you? Are you still kind of up in the air in terms of what the next chapter of what's going on is going to look like?
I think it's going to definitely motivate me more. I'm going to be like, it's been a little tough training in like my garage gym. So I think it'll be a nice change of scenery, which will be good. I always am motivated to work out. Competing obviously is a different type of motivation. I love being fit. I love being active and getting a good sweat on. I think it's more a matter of like, all right, can I again take one more year of brutal pounding with competition, and be okay with it, and be okay with having, an injury. Because at the end of the day, like most elite competitors have something going on. It's just like, it's what you give and take with professional sports.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that I'll always love CrossFit, and I'll always be passionate about it, and I'll always want to do it in a certain type of setting. It's if I want my body to hurt and be okay with it, I think.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure. I think that's sometimes a misconception that elite athletes are just not injured. I think it's just unrealistic to think that that's the case. It kind of goes hand in hand with being an athlete at that level. But for you as an athlete, you mentioned playing field hockey when you were younger. How far along did you go with that?
I played in college Division I. I played at University of California, Davis.
Oh, nice. Okay, awesome. Field hockey seems like a bigger sport on the East Coast than it is on the West Coast. Is that true?
Way bigger. Yes,
Yeah.
Way bigger, especially in the North, like Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Way bigger.
So how was it at the collegiate level? Was it something, because field hockey is an Olympic sport. Was it something that you had aspired to try to reach another level at, or was NCAA kind of the top tier for you?
When I was younger, so I actually transferred from Old Dominion University. They are like a field hockey powerhouse. They've won 10 national championships. So when I first went there, I think that my aspiration was definitely try to go Olympics. It would be awesome to be on the national team. But I actually really didn't like my first year. I was a red shirt, kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. I also just think I was like a cocky freshman thinking I knew what I was doing, but like got knocked in my butt multiple times by these, incredible athletes. And so when I ended up transferring, I was also very close to home and I wanted to be far away. So when I ended up transferring, I wanted to more so just enjoy the experience of being a collegiate athlete. But I didn't really focus too much on like trying to get further than that. I was like, all right, I'm just going to enjoy my years here playing field hockey. Not sure where this is going to go. Luckily found CrossFit while I was still in college. So I think my love for CrossFit started taking over a little bit as well. And I was kind of using CrossFit as like a supplemental training to my field hockey career. So I think, my aspirations kind of stopped once I transferred over.
I'm curious, as a field hockey player, what tools you learned either competing part of a team or something from that particular sport that you found to be valuable once you actually did transfer over to CrossFit. As a gymnast or as a weightlifter, we know that our sport has something that is directly transferable to becoming, at least good in that specific area. But as a field hockey, a sport that doesn't have direct translation, did you find some things that you're really good at because of your background?
Well, I actually do have a background in gymnastics, which was helpful.
Hey!
Yeah, so I did gymnastics. My mom, I thought I was a level 10. My mom always says, no, you're level 8. You weren't that good. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, Mom, seriously? It's so rude.
That's some honesty right there.
So I did, I had at least a good foundation of the basic things in gymnastics, which completely translated once even though I didn't do it for so long, my body awareness was still there, which was so cool. I always say, like, if you ever have a kid or if I ever have a kid, like, I'm going to put them in gymnastics 100% first thing.
You hear that, Chad?
It went in one ear and out the other. So.
It could be, weightlifting too. To put them in both, they'll be like a superhero. They'll be a superhero.
Hey, as long as they're squatting to full depth, you can keep them out of weightlifting and just do gymnastics and full depth squats. I'm fine with that.
I feel like most babies have like a perfect squat anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Like they don't have to train it. And then you get older and you have a horrible squat.
Absolutely.
So I think as far as the field hockey, what transferred over was my strength, because it's very much a posterior leg dominant sport. You're in a kind of like a quarter squat position as you're running and hitting and doing all those moves. And also I think agility, like you have to be agile. You have to be able to do a lot of cutting and things like that. And although we don't do a ton of that in CrossFit, it still helps tremendously with the explosiveness of the sport.
That's super interesting. So gymnastics you did until how old were you?
10 maybe.
Okay. All right. So there was still some transferability. So you really did gymnastics and then laid off for 8 to 10 years and then started to use some of those things, and you still saw an advantage there from something that you had done as a kid.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, like it's crazy. Like my fiance Catherine played basketball, and she never really did gymnastics. And so when she came into CrossFit, like things like a handstand and even just kicking upside down and being uncomfortable being upside down, huge advantage.
Right.
Like in my opinion, like if you're not comfortable being like on your hands, like it's not going to be good for you for CrossFit.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get another PSA out there about the importance of, like you said, trying to get kids there early for any fitness background, getting them more aware, getting them upside down, getting them comfortable with how their body works in all different directions. And even if you do lay off for 10 years, those things end up sticking with you if you do it for, early enough on when you're still developing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like riding a bike, right?
Yeah, I would say so. So, right. Riding a unicycle, maybe more.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So we're coming towards the end, Megan. We have some quick kind of rapid fire questions for you if you're open to it.
Let's do it.
So first one you kind of answered already, I think, Chad. I mean, maybe we can skip it.
I don't know. I'm not sure what the answer is going to be.
Sure. What sport or discipline do you prefer, weightlifting or gymnastics?
Oh man, this is a mean question.
Okay. It's a little aggressive, yeah.
Weightlifting if it's power only. No squatting.
Oh man, you definitely didn't like that. Chad is.
I'm not sure I even like that answer. Oh my goodness.
I much prefer power over a squat.
So if you can choose the method of getting the bar overhead, it's weightlifting over gymnastics. Is that what I hear?
Probably.
Perfect. All right, I'll take
that.
I'll take it.
I'm sorry, Dave.
Right, that's a decade-long gymnast saying that too.
But it's because I was her favorite station at camp, so I changed her.
He's gonna hold on to that. He's gonna hold on to that.
Oh yeah, that wasn't even what it was said. Come on.
It's close enough.
Fine, Chad. You made the Hall of Fame. We did a Hall of Fame episode for you, and we have our first person telling you it was her favorite station.
I know.
It's just Chad month.
It's my month. Let's do about 10 more recordings before the end of the month, and I'll be on my way.
All right. Question number 2. Any guests that you think would be great for us to have on the podcast that you can kind of think about? Maybe we haven't had on yet.
Have you brought Dawn on yet?
You know what? We have not had Dawn on yet.
I feel like she'd be great.
I thought we had Dawn on.
Did we?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, Jordan, confirm this.
Yes, we had Dawn
We're
on.
gonna have to
Dave.
cut that part out because
But
I have to.
I have been
to go back and
considering.
listen.
I have been
totally,
considering reaching out to her to have her on for a second episode.
oh, we need to.
That's
Yeah,
what, because I
yeah.
remember us talking about trying to get her on, and I thought it was because we were gonna have her on for the first time. I didn't even realize.
What about Christian? Have you had Christian on yet?
Yes.
Yeah, we've had Christian on. Yeah.
Well, those are my two guesses.
We'll have Christian and Dawn on together.
There you go. There you go.
And Meg. How about that? We'll just do another
All
little
three
round
of us.
table.
Trio.
There you go. We'll talk about the climbing experience that I don't want to be a part of.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Like the climbing up the mountain or the swing.
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, yes, we certainly do need to have Dawn back on for sure. Absolutely. Part 2, part 3, part 4, probably. But any books you've come across here recently, Meg, that you would recommend to our listeners?
Oh, actually, let me pull up my phone because I was just recommended one. I can't remember what it's called. Hold on. It's called The Millionaire Fast Lane. Have you guys heard of that yet?
No.
Say it again. The Millionaire Fast Lane.
The Millionaire Fast Lane. It's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it's all about it's all about how to create wealth and become rich, and kind of almost like the power of positive thinking,
right?
Which I think can correlate across life in general. You know, if you're gonna not think positively, you're not going to be successful. So it's pretty good. It's very new. I just started it, but I'm into it so far.
Is this literally about being rich in regards to money, or just
it is
happiness?
about thinking about money in a different way than you normally would, but I think it has a lot of other life lessons that kind of come in metaphorically.
Awesome. I like it. We'll have to check that one out as well for sure. Well, Meg, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on. Enjoyed having you at camp. Enjoyed having you here on the podcast. We'll definitely have to do it again. Is there anything you got coming up you want folks to know about? Where can they check out more on Wags and Weights and that kind of thing?
So we do have an Instagram account. It's literally at Wags and Weights. Our website name is wagsandweights.com. We always have lots of fun dog and fitness things coming out on there, so they can check that out. As far as me competing, we'll see, TBD, but my Instagram, I'm always posting stuff on there with my training and stuff. So if they want to follow along, they can follow along at Megatron. At Megatron.
Awesome. Well, to our listeners, be sure to check that out. Wags and Weights for sure. It's a cool little page. I've been digging into your deepest posts, so I like what you got going on there for sure.
Thank you.
And as always, guys, we very much appreciate you guys listening in. Be sure to head over to powermonkeyfitness.com for services and upcoming events. Also, check out our Instagram pages for regular teaching and technical content at Power Monkey Fitness, at Dave Durante, and at Ollie Chad. And on behalf of Power Monkey Fitness, we're your host. I'm Chad Vaughn with Dave Durante. And until next time, thank you all for listening.